Now we turn to the Android Basics section and we return to the Settings app. And this time it's all about sounds and haptics. Warren, do you want to take us away on this one?
Sounds and haptics, volumes and alarms and all of that are all found here within the sound settings area within the system settings. And of course, we all know how important sound is to us, and most especially not just the blind, but I mean, the phone has become like a media player of some sort. We do all sorts of things with our phones. And so sound has become a very important part. I don't see anyone having a phone without sounds. And so we're looking at sounds today, what that means to us, what the different channels are there within that sound, how we can adjust those things, and also uh, how that relates to us as blind people, because we love our sounds, don't we? We have all those ear cons and whatever that people call. Some of us love it, and some of us knuckleheads like me totally hate those sounds. I mean, ear cons and blah blah blahs. But today we're looking at those. And Fee, you want to start? How important are sounds to you? I mean, forget about the part of the volumes and all of that. We all need that. But then there are a boatload of other sounds in here, as I've indicated. How important are these in your world?
Oh, this is my favourite thing in the settings, I think, really. I mean, obviously, there are things you have to do, like connect to a Wi Fi network and stuff, aren't there, when you get your phone if you want to download big things or whatever and not use up all your data. But then there are things you can do because it's fun. And one of the first things I always do when I get a new phone is go to the sound settings once it's all set up and talking and everything, of course. Because I go to the sound settings, I see what ringtones they've given me on that phone. I put my own ringtones in the ringtone folder and message alerts in the message alerts folder. And if I've got the names wrong, someone can tell me in a minute. Because I have songs I really like, so I chop out bits of my favourite songs on the computer. Although there are a few apps I think that you can use to do that on the phone. I tend to do it on the computer because it's usually quicker. I haven't done it for a while, but there are ones I like, so I move them to the new phone. But sometimes they give you very cool noises, and also I always change the sound because I've got a Samsung phone, and going on the London Underground, which I do quite regularly, you often hear the Samsung doo noise. And if I didn't change those ringtones and sounds from the normal standard ones, I wouldn't know, is this my phone? Is this somebody else's phone ringing or having a message? So I always love messing around with the sounds in particular, and I turn off the ear cons because I want to hear the speech personally as fast as possible. But I think it's nice that we have them if we want them. I do have it so that when you lock the screen, it makes a noise, or when you put it on charge. But I don't have the other ear cons usually. I tend to turn them off.
So now, though, we want to go into here and look at the things that are found within the sounds and haptics and volumes and all of that. And so I'm going to navigate to my Pixel phone to the system settings, and I'm using my Pixel 6 Pro, running, of course, Android 13 Beta 3.2. And by the way, talking about Android 3 Beta 3.2, so this past Friday, out of the blue, Google dropped Android 13 Beta 3.2. And so I know we posted that on both our email and Telegram groups. But so we have another one there that came through, and basically what that did was fix some issues that people were having, probably with some applications wherein the back gesture is not working right and things like that. I think there are a total of 5 items that got um, rectified with this drop of the 3.2. We'll probably include that in our show notes. But now, having said that, I will now navigate to my system settings. and go to that sounds, and then maybe Fee can also show what hers looks like on the Samsung phone. So we have both going on. So here is what I'm talking about. I'm in the system settings now, and let's go to sounds and vibration, haptics, and all of that.
Sound and vibration, volume, haptics, do not disturb.
Okay, so I'm going to go in here and show you what it's contained right within this area.
Sound and vibration. Navigate up, button, out of list.
And here are the items that we find here.
Media volume, in list.
Media volume has to do with the things that you're playing, whether you're on YouTube or you're playing some songs or some podcast. All that goes to the media volume.
52%. Media
See,
volume,
my
slider.
media volume is at 52%, and so one could adjust that individually. Next, I have
Call volume.
the call volume. Of course, that has to do with our phone. So whenever you're making a phone call, you can adjust just that volume.
50%. Call volume, slider.
I have mine at 50%. Next, we have,
Ring and notification volume.
and this is the one that sometimes makes all that difference. For instance, if your notifications are getting a little bit too loud, you want to come here and change that. And by the way, you can also access that by simply tapping on the volume key. And when it pops up all those media controls to the right-hand side, then you can just tap on the sound settings and go change that. It will also bring you here. And of course, if you're running something other than a device running Android Pie or 10 or higher, then your sounds will be near the top of the screen. And so this is the notifications and volume control, ringtones and volume.
14%. Ring and notification volume, slider.
So I have mine at 14% because I don't like my notifications making a lot of sounds, and most of my notifications are off anyway. I don't have any of my notifications making sounds, but I have Telegram on. It's probably the only one that I have, and maybe my SMS. Those are the only two that I have. And so I kind of like them on the low side, so I have it set to 14%. Next, we have
Alarm volume.
an alarm. Of course, you want to be able to wake up in the morning, and this is important.
83%. Alarm volume, slider.
And mine is set to 83%. And continuing,
Do not disturb, on.
do not disturb is on because I don't want it to make any noise now while we're recording. However, in normal circumstances, my do not disturb will not be on, but unless I'm, going to bed or things of that nature. But right now, because we're doing this recording, I have it on. And so your do not disturb is also found here where you can go in here and customize it. I think we've shown this in one of our episodes before. And so it's like a spider. On Android, you find a lot of things elsewhere. So if you can find something somewhere where you thought it would be, it will be somewhere there. Like this one is found in a lot of places.
Phone ringtone, the big adventure.
And here is my phone ringtone. And here you can go in and change. Mine is called a big adventure. I like adventures just like that fire thing we had back in our backyard. So I could go in here and change it if I don't like it. So if you don't like your ringtone where it says the name of the ringtone, then you can just tap here and go change that ringtone to something else that you prefer.
Live caption, automatically caption speech.
Now, this is something that may just be exclusive to the Pixel phone, and that's why I would like Fee to be able to show hers also on her Samsung phone. And I'm not sure if every phone has this or if this is something that's just exclusive to the Pixel phone. I am not sure, but I thought Google may be bringing this to everybody. Who knows? But it's probably just on the Pixel phone.
Adaptive sound, off.
And here's another adaptive sound, and it may be yet another item that is exclusive to the Pixel phone. In other words, you want it to adapt your sound to be adaptive, and I have mine turned off. Anyway, one could turn it on if you have nice experience. You want some nice experience.
Now playing, identify songs playing nearby.
And
Showing
now,
items 1 to 9
now
18.
playing is another one of those exclusives that I believe is only found in Pixel phones. And it may be some other OEMs are doing the same thing. I cannot say for sure. Maybe Nokia and Motorola might be doing it. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that.
Media, hide player. Showing items 8 to 18 of 18.
That's another, I think, another Pixel thing.
Vibration and haptics, off.
Vibrations and haptics, and this is very important for people who like, hearing haptics and vibrations. And so if I tap on this where it says
Vibration
off,
and haptics. Navigate up, button, out of list.
and here we are, mine is set to off, but you can turn it on. I'm going to just tap on the on switch, which is found near the top right, to the on position.
Use vibration and haptics, off, switch, in list.
Here, use vibrations and haptics is switched off. I'm going to turn it on.
On.
So when you turn it on, here are some of the things that you will find here in that haptics and vibrations.
Calls, heading.
Under calls, we got,
Ring vibration.
do you want your thing to ring?
100%, ring vibration, slider.
So that's the vibration. You could change or adjust the intensity of that haptic. Some people like theirs to be really hard or whatever. You want your soft vibration or whatever. So you could adjust the intensity of your vibration. And here's that. Mine is, for some reason, when I turn it on, it set it to 100%.
Vibrate first, then ring gradually, off, switch.
And you could turn this on. So in other words, it will just first start to vibrate before it kicks in the ringer. And that's what that is.
Notifications and alarms, heading.
So under notifications and alarms, we got
Notification vibration. 33%.
I have-
Notification vibration, slider.
So if you want your notifications to also vibrate, you could increase the intensity or decrease it. It's up to you. Of course, as you could see, I had mine turned off. I'm not into all of that.
Alarm vibration.
Alarm,
100%. Alarm vibration, slider.
that is 100%.
Interactive haptics, heading.
Now we have something called interactive haptics, and that's like maybe when you long press an icon, or maybe you tap on something and you want to be able to feel those vibrations. This is where you can adjust those, because I've heard some people saying, hey, this thing is kind of soft. So you may want to come in here and see if you could adjust the intensity, the strength of that vibration.
Touch feedback.
Here we got touch feedback.
33%. Touch feedback, slider.
You could increase that if you wanted to.
Media vibration.
And media vibration.
100%. Media vibration, slider.
Wow.
Showing
And I think that's the last one that we have there.
vibration and haptics, out of list.
And I'm going to go back now and look at the other items.
Sound and vibration. Vibration and haptics, on, in list.
And then we go from here. We got,
Default notification sound, pipes.
and this is when your phone makes those sounds, whether it's SMS messaging or whatever. When you set up your phone for the first time and you haven't customized anything, all the sounds are going to be the same. So whether you're getting an SMS message or you're getting a WhatsApp message or a Telegram or some other alert, the sound would be the same, which is the default. And in my case, it's called pipes. And of course, if you want to change it to something else, you tap here to go change it. And then you have to change it per app basis, as we've done elsewhere in our podcast. You could change that, or else they'll all sound the same.
Default alarm sound, bright morning.
I got mine bright morning. I like that. I like bright mornings. Today is a very bright morning. Next.
Dial pad tones, on, switch.
So if you like hearing those dial pad tones, you could turn this on. By default, they're on. And if you don't like them, then you could turn them off. But I don't know. Most places would like those dial pad tones in order to be able to access what's going on, like on a phone tree and things like that. So mine is on. I leave it on.
Screen locking sound, on, switch.
Screen locking sound. So when you turn off the screen or shut off the screen, it makes a sound. If you don't want that to happen, then you could turn this off. If you think is bothering you.
Charging sounds and vibration on switch.
When you plug in your charger, of course, you're going to hear it make that sound, and it may also vibrate depending on the device. But if you don't want that, then you could also turn it off.
Touch sounds on switch.
And touch sounds,
Always show icon when in vibrate mode off switch.
and you could turn that on if you wanted to. Mine is off. You could tell that I'm not a sounds person. And I think for me, though, that would be the last one. Fee, do you want to take us through a tour of what it is like on a Samsung phone, most especially there in that sound and haptics and volumes and all of that?
I can. Slight disclaimer, there is a software upgrade that I haven't yet done because it's been a busy old week, but I don't believe it's a major one. Okay, I'm using the British vocalizer Serena voice, and I've gone into settings and into the sounds bit. So I'm in the sounds and vibration bit. Before I start this, I want to say something that I really like about Android that, as far as I know, you still can't do on the iPhone, and it's one of the favorite things I have about sounds in Android phones, where, for example, if I'm listening to music or an audiobook and then somebody sends me a text, if I want the text to be louder because it's important, I can turn up the volume, or if it's something I don't need to look at till later and the book or the music's more interesting, I can turn down the accessibility volume, the speech, without turning up or down the audiobook or the music I'm listening to. The volume controls for both of those things are separate. And I really like that because on the iPhone, you can change the speech volume, but it still changes when you press the volume keys on the iPhone. The speech will change with whatever else you're playing. I do love that Android lets you have separate controls. That's a brilliant thing. So I'm in the sounds and vibration section of settings.
Search settings button. Sound mode 1 of 18. In sound selected. Radio button.
So I don't think Warren had this at the top. It says sound mode, so it says sound, and then which is ticked at the moment. And then if I go down,
Vibrate not selected. Radio button.
I could have the phone vibrate instead.
Mute not selected. Radio button.
If I mute's good if I don't want it to vibrate or make a sound or do anything. So for in church and things like that.
Vibrate while ringing on switch 2 of 18.
So I've gone down past those radio buttons now. So I've got it so that the phone will vibrate when it's ringing, because sometimes I'm looking for it in my bag, and having it vibrate is very useful because you can feel where it is.
Ringtone notification. Ringtone vibrate while ringing on. Ringtone Erin Shaw 4 of 18.
So the ringtone is Erin Shaw, which is one that I put on there. I'm going to give you a really quick demo of how you change ringtones, because if you haven't done this before, it might be a bit of a shock, especially if your ringtone is quite loud. If you try and change the ringtone, it might make you jump out of your skin if you're not prepared for it. So I'm going to double tap this.
Ringtone. Navigate up button. Ringtone. Add button.
So I could add a ringtone.
Ticked. Erin Shaw 29 of 182 in list.
So you can tell
items.
I've got
Erin
lots
Shaw.
of ringtones. But if I try, because these all have just names, but if I want to hear one, I can select it. And this is the bit where it can all get a bit loud.
50 verses. 30 of 100. Delete button. Follow Deo. Goodbye end. 30. Goodbye. He never mentioned love. Heaven knows.
Oh,
Heaven knows.
heaven knows, this is a one I made from a song, and this might be a bit loud. So it can be a bit difficult then to go back to the previous one because the ringtone's a bit loud. Erin Shaw, that's the one I want. And I'm going to go back with the back button. What I should have done is change the ringtone volume first before I started going through them. And just to make you aware, you might think, oh, I'll plug in the headphones and then the ringtones won't be loud. They will. because the phone will demo how it will actually ring. So you do need to turn the volume down first if you're going to be going through lots of ringtones and you don't want to really annoy everyone, and maybe including yourself. So that's how you change the ringtone.
Notification sound, suite, 5 of 18.
And then you can do something similar with the notification sound, which is less problematic because they're usually shorter.
Navigate up. Aurora, 6 beat ones, Cassiopeia, Chaos, Contact, Cosmic Rid, Cosmic Glit, Luna, Meteor, Glitter, 23 of 69.
Oh, Glitter is one I put on there, I think.
Ticked.
Oh, no, it's not.
Luna, Meteor, Milky Way, Nebula, 20, Orion, Prism, Red Dwarf, Signal, 30, Spaceline, Sticky, Transmitter, Voyager,
Hey,
30,
Fee,
Calm Header,
could you
30,
play
very-
the could you play the Red
Showing
Wolf?
items
I
30
heard
water,
Red
Voyager,
Wolf. I want to
Transmitter,
hear what the
Sticky,
Red Wolf
Spaceline,
sounds like.
Signal, 30, Red Dwarf, 30 of 69. Ticked.
That's
Oh,
it.
I thought I was gonna hear like a wolf barking.
No,
you
no,
know.
no, no. Red Dwarf.
Oh, okay.
Not not Red Wolf.
Oh my God. I love it. Isn't that beautiful? I thought it
I'm
said
good.
Red Wolf, and I'm like, I want to hear what a Red Wolf
I was
sounds like.
I was thinking Red Wolf. What's he talking about? But I thought, oh, he must have meant Red Dwarf.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's funny. Let's go back to the previous.
Contact, Chaos, Cassiopeia, beat 1, Alpha, Fit, Aurora. Ticked.
That's the one I had. It's got a nice. You won't hear it on here, but it's got a nice stereo-ness, and it's not too shouty and loud. Because, like you, Warren, I don't really like it. A notification sound to shout at me.
Notification sound, out of list. Navigate up, button.
So I'll go out of that.
Sounds and vibration. System sound, calm, 6 of 18.
So that's like a sound theme for things like when you put the battery on charge and stuff. And I think that's a Samsung thing. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I thought calm is probably good. We need a bit of calm these days.
Volume, 7 of 18.
I'm not going to go into volume because it's very similar to what Warren demonstrated. Mine didn't have a call volume, but I can alter the volume when I'm actually on a call. But yeah, it was very similar.
Call vibration pattern, basic call, 9 of 18.
So you can change the pattern of your call vibration. So if I open that.
Call vibration. TikTok, 7 of 9. In list, 9 item. Heartbeat, 6 of 9. Ticked, basic call, 5 of 9.
So mine's
call.
just basic call, but if I change it, I wonder if you can hear it vibrate.
TikTok, 7 of 9. Heartbeat, 6 of ticked.
Yeah, so it went zzz. If I put it on TikTok.
TikTok, 7, ticked.
Yeah, so it changes the.
Waltz, 8 of 9.
Oh, waltz. I don't know what.
Ticked. Message, Telegram, 36 new TikTok.
I think that was my Red Wolf.
TikTok.
Yeah. Hang on. I'll go back to waltz because yeah. So waltz is
Waltz, 8 of 9. Ticked. Zig. Ticked.
yeah.
Navigate
So
up.
that's all of them. I'm going to go back to the basic.
Basic call. Medium. Short. 3 of 9.
Oh, there's.
Galaxy.
Oh,
Short,
what's Galaxy? Oh,
short. 3
nothing.
of 9. Ticked. Medium. 4. Ticked. Basic call. 5 of ticked.
So that's like the long vibration. I'll keep that because it's easier to find the phone.
System UI. BB. Call vibration.
It's good to know that I can change it though,
Navigate up.
if I want.
Sound. Notification sound. Galaxy. Or system sound. Volume. 7. Call vibe. Notification vibration pattern. TikTok. 10 of 18. Showing items 1.
So I could change that. It's a similar sort of thing for notifications.
Vibration intensity. 11 of 18.
If I open vibration intensity, it lets me change the intensity of vibration for ringing and notifications.
Vibrate. 100%. Notifications. 100%. Touch interaction. 3 of 4.
Touch interaction is quite a lot lower. So if I increase that, you might hear
40% slider. 60%. 80% slider. 100% slider.
No, I don't know if you can hear it because it's very quickly sort of going. I'm going to take it down to 30% actually.
80%, 40%, slider, 20%, slider.
Actually, that'll do, 20%.
Navigate up. Sounds and vibration. Separate app sound. Play media sound from one app on a different audio device. 16 of 18.
I've never played with that.
Sound quality and effects. 15 of 18.
I've gone back slightly because I jumped a bit. Sound quality and effect, you can turn on Dolby Atmos, but this, again, something I haven't really played with.
System sound stroke vibration control. Control touch sounds, vibrations, and keyboard feedback. 13 of 18.
So I'm not going to open that, but that's where you can change whether your keyboard and touch sounds and clicks and things are turned on and off. So most of mine are switched off.
Vibration intensity. 11 of 18.
Oh, that's so we're
System
back to
sounds,
that.
Sound. Separate app. Looking for something else.
And then at the bottom, looking for something else, and it just gives you a few suggestions.
Alert when phone picked up. Do not disturb.
So that's the sounds bit of the settings on mine. And if I'm on my own with a new phone, I have far too much fun mucking about with ringtones and playing them all. And I tend to do this in a room on my own so as not to annoy anybody.
So as you saw, I want to notify you that different OEMs have their settings laid out differently. You saw Samsung did not have some features of Pixel, whereas Samsung had some features that Pixels did not have, or the settings were worded differently. So different OEMs have different settings layouts, and also their volume panel is different. That is the beauty of Android. It's very, very customizable. So you just can't pick up the phone and go, okay, this setting will be laid out in this manner only, because different brands have different ways of laying out settings. So I have one news for the sound category, and I thought I would put it in the announcement section, but then I thought it would be more related in the sounds section. So OnePlus is removing their alert slider from everything except the OnePlus 2T. So only if you have a flagship OnePlus phones, you will get the alert slider. Otherwise, it's not going to be any alert sliders for you. What do y'all think about that?
By
I mean,
alert
OnePlus
slider,
was
do you mean
famous.
do you mean the volume sliders for the alerts, or do you mean being able to change the alert?
Like the iPhone, there was a slider that had a silent, then
your volume toggle.
yeah.
He's
Oh, you
talking
mean a
about he's talking
switch?
about the switch there on the
A
side.
physical
Yes.
switch.
And
Oh,
OnePlus is removing that. And I think my take on all of this is the fact that, OnePlus has just been rebranding a lot of the Apple phones as OnePlus phones, when in reality, they are not OnePlus phones. They're just rebranding, putting a different cover with OnePlus logo on it. But in reality, it's just an Apple phone. And that's what's going on. That's how I see it.
I think it would be good if more phones had a slider on the side, actually. Because
That would be perfect.
Because sometimes I've used Google to try and change to do not disturb or something, and it tells you it's done it, but it actually hasn't. And at least with a switch on the side, you'd know which way it was, so you could tell straight away that you'd done it right. Like if you suddenly remembered just before your meeting or your church service or whatever started, and you hadn't done it, you could quickly just move that switch. That is one thing that Apple does that's quite nice, having that switch on the side. Apart from when one of your parents accidentally turns that switch and then wonders why their phone doesn't ring. But yeah, probably less said about that the better.
Like, I know like Samsung used to have it where a short press of both your volume buttons would turn you into vibrate mode.
I don't think they do that anymore.
No, they don't. So, I mean, having that switch would actually be really beneficial
It would.
because I know for me, when I lived in the Apple ecosystem, I used that switch all the time. It was so convenient.
It
Phone's
is.
in your pocket, slide your hand in, flip the switch. You don't need to pull your phone out and play around.
No, and I mean, even if you could just press both volume keys and maybe, I mean, when you did that, did your phone go zzz to sort of show you it was on vibrate now?
Yeah,
Because that would be good.
It actually vibrated. It was
Yeah.
very clear.
And then if you did it again, would it go ding or something so you knew it was
No,
back?
you actually then had to just press your volume up button to get your audio back, and then you
Okay.
bring it up one notch at a time. So it was convenient to put it into vibrate mode, but it was inconvenient to take it out.
But it's usually putting it on silent that needs to be the quick thing, though, isn't it? So that
Exactly.
sounds like it was the right way round.
So, I mean, if you have a smartwatch, I know like I can control my volume toggle off my watch for my phone, but not
Yeah,
everybody.
I used to be able to do that when I had a smartwatch, but then
Yeah.
it broke. So
So it's like not everyone has that ability. So having that
No.
switch on your phone would just be, an extra benefit.
or if there isn't room for the switch, in terms of physically, that the volume key thing that
Exactly.
you described, that would be really good.
I think though that OnePlus has it even better than Fruitvale because you have three switches. You got the either vibrate, the silent mode, and the ringer. And I think that the Fruitvale you only have either ring or silent,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
So you
OnePlus
can-
actually is a one step better than what you have on Fruitvale.
Exactly. And
It
at
is,
least
yeah.
with Apple, you have the ability to go into your settings and change whether it goes to vibrate or silent.
Yeah.
But I like what OnePlus has with the ability to take it from any of your settings. It's super convenient, and it's something that I don't know why they'd want to remove that feature. I'd want to be
No.
finding ways to make sure it can go on all phones.
And also, it's another thing that would make OnePlus stand out and make people go, "Oh, I want a OnePlus phone again because of this thing." If they use it a lot, and now they're taking it away. How silly!
Yeah, basically they just want to keep it for like flagship phones, and that's basically what it is. And like I said, all their mid-rangers in reality they're just Apple phones that are being rebranded as OnePlus. And in reality, if you go back and look at it, like someone was saying, I was reading elsewhere, even the 5T or whatever was an Apple phone. And so OnePlus kind of been playing these games. I mean, we love you, OnePlus, don't misunderstand us, but come on, man, be in the urban app,
So you're saying they're Oppo phones? Is that?
Yeah,
I've
they're
never
they're
used
from
one
the
of
same.
those.
They are from the same company, BBK Electronics or whatever owns all of them, and that's why they were trying to merge all the OS to Color OS instead of OnePlus having the Oxygen, and so there was an outcry from the community, and so they now backed off and say, okay, we'll just give you the Oxygen OS or whatever instead
Well,
of giving
everyone needs oxygen.
Yeah, but it makes me feel like I'm joking.
Especially your Christmas tree fire. That had lots of oxygen by the sounds of things.
There was a lot of oxygen in my yard, and that thing was just amazingly, hot. So, but there we have it. If you have a OnePlus, you want to get the flagship. If you're looking for that slider, it's not going to be found on, other variants of the phone.
If you can't afford it and you wanted that switch, then you'll just have to cry instead.
Exactly.
Which is a shame.
It is a shame. Well, guys, we somehow lost Ed, and so we'll proceed without Ed here. And Ed, if you're hearing us on the air, hello to you.
He couldn't stand the excitement of my demo
it was the Red Wolf
sounds.
that kicked him off.
Yeah.
The Red Wolf.
Is there such a thing as a red wolf?
It was a Red Wolf. So, as Fee, you are saying earlier on before we bring this segment to a close, in reality, as I've always argued, if you're blind, you want to get a phone. If it's not, the latest phone, but you need to get something that at least have Android Oreo, Android 8.0, so that you'll have that separation of the media from the accessibility volume. Anything below that would be something that is not all that bueno. You're not going to be able to separate those volumes. So it is important, if you're getting a phone, you don't have the moolah, but you're getting some lower phone, make sure that that phone at least, at the very minimum, has Android 8.0.
Yeah, although I'd say really you want at least 10.
Yeah.
At least.
Another thing, though, that I noticed that wasn't there, even though we have the accessibility volume, you don't find that within the sound, haptics, and volume area for some reason. And
No, it's true.
it's not there. So it's like it's really not a very true dynamic volume of its own in some way, but at least
No.
it works.
I'll tell you where it is. I think it's in the talkback settings, but it's a bit silly for the volume, but it's a bit silly. But I mean, you can just change. There was something else actually that I didn't demonstrate when I didn't open the volume thing, the volume settings bit, because you'd already done it and it was so similar. But there was a thing in there in my phone where you could say that you wanted the volume keys to change media volume by default. And I have that switched off because I want to be able to use my volume keys to change accessibility volume or media volume, so that's something that's important. If you've set it to change media volume by default with the volume keys, then you might be wondering why the volume keys aren't changing your accessibility volume. And the phone knows to change the accessibility volume because you do it while it's talking to you. If you do it while it's not talking to you and it's just playing YouTube or Audible or whatever, then it will change the media volume. So that's how you know which one you're doing. And if it's not playing any media at all, then you will end up changing the ringtone volume. And that can be quite handy.
So what I was saying, though, when you go into that volume, the area that we've just been in, every channel has its controls in there.
Yeah, but not
for
accessibility.
some reason, we don't have the accessibility one in there. So
no, it should be. But it is in talkback instead. But yeah, that's a bit silly.
Yeah, no, I understand it's in talkback, but it should have its own channel, in that area as well. If it is a true volume control of its own that has its own dynamic channel, it should be found here as well.
Yeah, that would be good.
I don't know what version of Android you're on, Fee, but on Android 12, I do have the volume for accessibility in those channels.
Well, I looked earlier today, and I definitely have Android 12, and I didn't.
So
it wasn't there.
When I'm in my settings for sound and sound and vibration, I go to the option that just says volume.
Yeah.
And at the very bottom of my list, I have an option that says accessibility volume.
Let me just double check then.
Can you show us that, Cam?
Just give me 1 second.
Settings, connections, Douglas connections, sounds and vibration, sounds and sound, vibrate, mute, not vibrate, while ringtone, Android notification sound, system sound, volume, 7 of 8, volume, volume, more options, ring, Bixby voice, 60%, accessibility, 7 of 10, accessibility, 100%, accessibility. Slot. Use volume keys for media. Control the media volume by default when you press the volume keys on. Switch. 9 of 10.
And that's right at the bottom, basically the bottom of my list.
And that's what Fee was talking about, that media volume controls.
So my accessibility volume channel is immediately above the use of buttons for media volume.
You're right. I've just checked, and I actually do have the accessibility. So it did, but your one didn't have that, Warren. Mind you, you were using an older Pixel, weren't you, Warren? So maybe
No,
that's
actually,
why.
I'm using Pixel 6. So here's what I keep saying. Sometimes people like to give Samsung a bad time, but I've always argued that, in reality, Samsung goes beyond the call of duty in a lot of places when it comes to accessibility. I mean, looking at it now, having a prominent channel for accessibility within the volume and haptics area, that's what I was saying. It should be there, and I'm not seeing that in the Pixel. So kudos to Samsung for making that prominent in there. That's what I was talking about. And that would be it for this sounds and haptics and volumes.